I once served at a church where a lot of transitions needed to happen, especially in the administrative area, because we were leaving ourselves vulnerable for bad things to happen. Like, for instance, our treasurer was taking all the church financial information and doing it at home on her home computer, and then like counting the offerings, counting the giving, and then bringing it back to the church. It wasn't that we didn't trust her at all. We trusted her with our life. It was just that wasn't best practices, and we needed to make sure that we as a church could protect her just in case something went wrong. Now, because of all this transitions, a lot of people had to be phased out of their roles and responsibilities. And some were very understanding of why things needed to be done, and some were relieved that one, this was finally happening, and two, they don't have to deal with this burden and responsibility anymore. And there was a small handful of folks who just couldn't understand why this was being done, why it needed to be done, and they were upset and furious, and some actually even left the church when all these transitions were taking place. At the time, I couldn't understand why this small group of people were so upset and so angry. I mean, so upset that they would uproot themselves out of this community that they were part of longer than I had been alive. A season or so later, when the church was at a healthier place, when we were actually practicing best practices, something hit me. I remember a conversation I had with someone who was telling me that they loved the fact that they could do what they were doing for the church. That in being in this role, in that doing this responsibility, they felt that they were helping the church the best that they possibly could. And I don't know why it took me such a long time to get to the bottom of what this person was trying to tell me. That their position was something that validated them, that made them feel worthy of God's love, that they were earning their keep, so to speak. And being transitioned out of that role, no matter how gracefully, no matter how lovingly it was done, perhaps many felt that their worth and value to church and to God was being transitioned out. We all have this tendency to hang our identity based upon what we do, that what we do defines who we are. I mean, think about it. What's one of the first questions that we ask when we meet someone to help us get to know them better? We ask them, well, what do you do for a living? But what I want to say to you today is that you are not defined by what you do. You are not who you are because of what you do. You are not loved because of what you can produce and because of your job and your title. Our value to God, our worth in God's eyes isn't found in the things that we can produce or in the titles that we hold or in the jobs that we do. See, the Egyptians found worth in the Israelites based upon how much bricks they can produce a day. And if the Israelites couldn't meet that quota for the day, they would be beaten or even killed, because if you can't meet the quota of bricks, why are you even alive? God didn't base the worth of the Israelites based upon what they can do for God. God placed worth on the Israelites simply because they were God's children. Now, what I'm trying to say to you is, no matter what you do, no matter how many bricks you produce, no matter what title you earn, no matter what achievements you earn, God's not going to love you any more or any less than God already does. There's nothing you can do or say to make God love you more or to make God love you less. God simply just loves you because you are a child of God. You are God's daughter. You are God's son. So let me remind you, you are not what you do. Your worth does not come from what you do. You are worthy, you are valuable, you are loved, not because of what you do, not because of what you can produce, but simply because you are God's daughter and you are God's son. May that define you.